Okay, I'm going to go over the ring mod in this one, and instead of showing you the basic setup, I just set it up by myself ahead of time because you don't need to sit through that. So to explain the way I have this is I of course chose a blank mod 7 patch and in the amp set it to a gate style envelope and took off the envelope generator that was affecting oscillators 1, 2, and 3. Then of course, as you can see, I patched oscillator 2 into input 2 and oscillator 3 into input 1. Oscillator 2 and 3 are sines, and then this is set to ring modulator only mode. Now, if I jump into oscillator 1, you can see that it's in ring mod only mode. And in any of these modes, the graphic changes on the right here, depending on which mode you choose. But unfortunately, with the way this editor was made, this graphic is incorrect. But if you look on your Kronos itself, you can see that the graphic is correct on there. It just shows input 1 and input 2 going straight to the ring modulator module. I don't have another synth set up where I could really show you how a ring modulation circuit works, but you could just Wikipedia that. With this diagram, it's incorrect because it shows input 1 and input 2 going into a gain adjust, and at least I think this is a gain adjust. It shows them being summed here, but then the gain of them can also be adjusted. However, in the actual diagram, which your Chrono shows you, you can't adjust the gain. There is no plus symbol, and there is no summing going on. They both just go to the ring modulator. And that means that these have no effect, actually. So if we play a sound, we are hearing the just the dry of 2, I believe. Actually, let's check it out. So if we change oscillator 2 to a saw, okay. So oscillator 2 is going to input 2, which is going straight into that ring module. Oops. Yeah, if I turn it off, I don't hear anything. But as a sine, we hear that sine. So in oscillator 1, oscillator 2 is just going straight to the output if the ring mod is on dry. And then oscillator 1, we don't hear at all. Or excuse me, input 1 we don't hear at all, and input 1 is oscillator 3 in this instance. So if I go to oscillator 3 and I change the waveform, we're still hearing just the sine wave of oscillator 2. And if I think if I adjust the, let's see if adjusting the gain of the input gain of oscillator 2 or input 2, if it'll change anything. Nope, because it's just going straight to that ring modulator. There's no gain adjustment going on, so we could actually leave this off if we wanted to. And let's switch it over to ring modulator mode. And let's turn oscillator 3 into just a sine, just for illustrative purposes. So we hear an octave higher because we're ring modulating 2 sine waves. But if we change the pitch of oscillator 3, oops, start to hear those waveforms that occur at the sum and difference of the 2 oscillators. Of course, if we go to ring mod dry, just hear the plain sine wave. And if we adjusted the pitch of oscillator 2 instead, then of course in dry we would hear the changed pitch of oscillator 2. Let's see. And let's experiment with changing the input volume while we're doing ring modulation. Yep. No difference at all. So that's what's going on with ring mod. It's not so unlike ring modulation in AL1, where the oscillators have their own discrete mixer channels. In fact, let me just pop over to AL1 to show you what I'm talking about. I can go to common and I can just create an instance. So since the oscillators, it's a little different than the setup in Mod 7, but you could still do ring modulation even without, even with the oscillators off. And let me turn off EXI1, so this is just EXI2 or AO1. See? Yep, so ring mod doesn't need any kind of volume here. And yeah, so that's it for this one. I'm going to go over the most mysterious mode, which I haven't even figured out yet, which is oscillator off, because a lot of things are still happening even though it doesn't show any connections. So I'll see you on that one.